Hey everybody, it's Alan from Diabolical Inc. We are excited about our Bronco Ridgeback. That is a two-door Bronco with the rear seat delete. So what we've done is we've already pulled the seats out of this. I left the seat belts up for right now. They're kind of rolled and wrapped around the roll bar. You're going to have to pull the side plastic off and unbolt the mechanism on the roll bar right here from underneath. Or you can leave it in there and just kind of wrap up the seat belts and put them on the side of the wall over here if you want. Totally up to you. So a couple of things to prep on before we get started is pull all four of your D-ring bolts out. Pull the plastic off because our sidewalls are going to sit completely over that, and take advantage of a couple of the factory locations that we're going to put our longer bolts in. So step one is going to do all of this prep, take it off. Don't worry about the floor part right here. Yes, you've got factory posts sticking up from the seats. Why Ford did that, I have no idea, but when we do our accessory for the Ridgeback, our full-size slide floor, that's going to cover all that anyway. So we're going to leave that for another time. Once we get the slide floor, we'll put that in and show all of that. But right now we're focusing on the Ridgeback. That is going to be a full enclosure that's 42 inches deep, 42 inches wide, and about 21 inches tall front to back. So that way you have the ability to put taller fridges in there, a ton of gear for overlanding or just whatever your needs are. But you know, it's a great large system that's all aluminum, that all bolts together and to the factory location mount. So again, step one is get it all prepped, open up like this, and I'm going to go grab some of the parts for the next step. Okay, so one of the first things we want to do, and you can do this on a table, it's a lot easier. I've already done it, but I'm going to show you how the parts go together. This is the center wall panel with an access panel. So the way this goes together is, if you want to come in closer, you'll see that you've got one main panel and then what we call the spacer bar. So you'll see that there's two holes in two locations on the center of your wall. That's where the small hinge goes through, the bottom posts go through. I'll spin this around. And the spacer bar goes, and then the access panel. So when this is open, this is your main opening. So you're going to take the half-inch wide peel and stick squishy foam, and you're going to cut it out and put it around this opening just like that. Peel and stick it. You don't do the bottom section, you just go down to just past the opening, and that's all you need. What that does is that allows, so it's not metal on metal, it's tighter, and it doesn't make noise. So here you'll see that there's two holes in two locations on the access panel itself. That's for the upper part of the hinge. So two sets of holes go through the panel, two set go through the spacer bar, then the center wall panel. And all you do is take the nuts and washers that are supplied. These are metric. So you're going to use, I believe, a 8mm socket or wrench to tighten these up, and your access panel goes up and down. Should fit nice and easy just like that. Then you take the lock assembly and you take the spin nut, make sure that's off, and you can feed this through the hole. You might have to take the cam lever off. That's just with a Phillips screwdriver or a flat tip. Works for both. And you push the cylinder through the access panel hole. It's a tight fit for a reason. You might have to tap it with a mallet. It's okay. You're not going to hurt it. Once you get it through, put the nut on the back side of it. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that the cam lever, when we ship it to you, the cam lever is in the other position where it's taller. you want to get it to where it's close to the access panel, so as that comes up, it's on the back side of the center wall. It's nice and tight. So with this, you can also rotate your cylinder, the inner cylinder, by taking the screw off. Careful as you drop that inner cylinder out. It's got an O-ring on the backside that you need to put back in. And you can adjust if you want the key to be in the lock position straight up and down, or like I did it here, it's in the unlock, so that when I rotate it up, it's horizontal. It's up to you how you want to do your lock. Just know that if you rotate that inner cylinder, there is one of the 4 locations, it's 12, 3, 6, and 9 o'clock positions. One of those positions is a completely lock position, meaning the key will go in, but it won't move. Means you've got to rotate the cylinder again to get it to move for the lock. And then on the back side, you'll notice you're going to take and use the peel and stick magnet. Let me put the key back in here. Let's see what I'm doing here. So this is actually a catch plate, so you're not metal on metal. This is a magnet that we use as the striker plate for the cam lever. So all you do is peel and stick it to the middle. You can see here you've got all 4 of the posts. If you want to leave the washers off the bottom, they'll go right up flush to the length of the post on the hinge. Totally up to you. These are nylock nuts. They grab as soon as you get one rotation on them. And you're just going to tighten these up by hand. Don't over tighten them because you could snap it off. They're not torqued. They're hand tight when you get done with it. And then on the bottom, you'll notice that there's 2 sets of oval holes on both sides. This is where we're going to do a floor bracket up on the front. So we're going to actually do the center wall after we get the sides in and set in place. So we're going to move to the side walls now. Okay, so now we're going to start putting the side walls and the main body of the system together. So you'll notice that this is the passenger side, so it's got this cutout right here. This lines up with the speaker, so if you've got the speaker, sound still comes through. This is for your plug-in and your LED light to be able to still use that. And then if you don't have the subwoofer, but you've got the compartment back here, storage compartment, you can still access it through your sidewall. So the way that we're going to do this is there's a cutout hole right here, round hole, that's going to go over that factory post from the seat right there. We put our system in so it sits flush on the existing floor, okay? So with it, and it's going to sit over where your D-rings go, where the covers were and everything. So since you pulled those covers off, we don't want it to be a catch-all for dirt and grime and everything else. So we actually came wide with the base unit right here. So I'm going to just start this bolt. We supply you with the longer bolts to get those in. So just kind of like set that in place. Move back to the second one, and you're going to locate where that's at. Start spinning that in and down. And I'm going to use the other ones to stay loose for right now. So one thing that you'll notice is there's PEM studs or PEM nuts pressed in already. This is for us prepping for that accessory of the full width slide floor. So that means this is where your Accuride 500-pound slides are going to bolt to. These are heavy duty slides with a lifetime warranty that we've already prepped the location, so all you're doing is adding the 1/4 screws that hold that in place. So with this in place, you'll see that here's your speaker, your access to your 12-volt plug-in right there, and also the LED light. Now, something that you'll also notice is we made this where it's the same height at the back at the tailgate to where it is up towards the front seats. But you'll notice that your body tub, if you think it's level, it is, but the floor is not level. The floor is angled up, so you're reducing the height. So instead of us making this match the floor, the reason why we didn't do that is if you put a large fridge in here that's, say, 20 inches tall, it's going to get stuck right about here because the angle of the floor matching the angle reduction going forward on the sidewall. So it is a true 21-inch height from floor to the bottom of the bend here, front and back. So your slide-out fridge or your gear, everything is the exact same height. So there's not going to be an issue with moving that around. So I'm going to grab the left side right now, driver's side wall, and we'll do the same thing with setting it in place in just a second. All right, so now that we've grabbed the driver's side, you'll notice that there's no cutouts here, just the cutout to fit around your plastic wall. And what we're going to do is the same thing. Lift it up, drop it over that factory point, pull it back, grab a bolt and the fender washer, and locate your hole. And just kind of get it down there. You want to keep it loose. These are slotted holes so we can move it around to get a good fitment front to back. So I'm going to do this. So there's your sidewall. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to move around, get up inside. We're going to change the camera angle a little bit so you can see. What we're going to do is we're going to put the forward wall in place. Leave the tops off. Use that as the last item because once you put them in, it just makes it harder to put the wall in for just access. So I'm going to grab the center wall. So I'm going to take the key out so I don't break the key off. Put it right there. I'm going to move inside. Let me grab a couple of carriage bolts first because everything is carriage bolted in so it can be tightened all the way down. I'm going to grab the two floor brackets. These are going to go on the front side of the wall. So from the back, I'm going to put the carriage bolts in first into the sidewall so it gets everything squared at the front. And then we'll change the angle of the camera and show where these go on in the front because it's carriage bolts going in and you're reusing the factory floor bolts that when you pulled the seats out, they came out. So let me jump on up in here, put a stack of bolts there. Before I jump in, I'll grab my 7/16 socket. That is for the 9-lock nuts when we get that in place. So I'm going to stay on the side here. So I want to set the wall in place just like this. I'm going to take make sure you don't kneel on one of those posts sticking up. You'll feel it. So I'm going to come through the top hole first. Carriage bolt. And I'm going to put this in. And I'm going to go to about 90% tight. I want to still be able to move it, this way, left and right, once we get everything in and squared up. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the middle bolt. feel it just before it gets snug, so it's still loose, so you can move everything around. Because we want to make sure all the holes line up as we're putting everything together. Okay, so now I'm going to flip over and I'm going to do the other side. Ouch. Now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to line up holes to put the bolt washer and the nut on. See how we want to be able to move this around so the bolts go in nice and easy? Again, it's leave them a little bit loose so we can finalize it, snug it up. Okay, so again, this lets us do, you can see how much movement to get it square is going to be, because we want to try and line it up so it's square the same distance from the body tub edge to the wall here. So that's one of the last things that we'll do. Okay, so now we're going to work on the bracket area right here. You can tell that this is where it drops off to the footwell. Our wall comes up perfectly behind this bump in this floor bracket, so it makes it a perfect fit. So what we're going to do is, these are the factory bolts when you pulled out your seat. I just have two for right now, so I'm going to do one on both sides, but you're going to use all four. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the floor bracket that we have, and it's going to go just like this. So you're going to put your two factory bolts in. So I'm going to do one of them, so I can do one on both sides. And you're just going to put that down finger tight for right now, so it holds it. And I'm going to take two carriage bolts, and I'm going to pop them through my wall. We made it so this is slotted vertically and horizontally on the wall. So it's vertical on the bracket, so it allows you to move this a little bit. So as long as that doesn't fall out, as I'm grabbing this, push that back in. And again, I'm going to tighten these up to only about 90% so that I can still adjust this left to right after we put the tops on, so everything's nice and square. We want everything to be a nice, easy fit. So let me tighten these guys up on the back side, and then I'll move to the other side. All right. So same thing. This bracket is going to go here. It's angled, so we just want to put in one of the two bolts that I have in my hand. You'll end up putting all four in, and then you're going to do the four carriage bolts through here. I've got to grab a couple of more nuts, but you can see that once you get this in, we'll move on to the next step. Hey everybody, okay, so here's the continuation, hence the blue shirt change from the first part of the video. We had to wait for a couple of parts to come in, but we're going to finish on the installation of your Ridgeback system on the Bronco. So if you notice, what we've done is there's 4 holes in the top of the sidewall. What we've done is we've added a flat panel that sits on the body tub. So if you're running a hardtop, lift your hardtop off, set this in place, set your hardtop back on top of it. There's no issues with the fitment on it. This is only 1/8 inch thick aluminum, so it won't make a difference on your hardtop the way it sets. But what that does is, with this going flat to the body tub, what you're going to be able to do is you're going to have access here on the side between the sidewall of the Ridgeback and the plastic wall in the Bronco, that you can put loose gear in here. You can put jackets, toe straps, wet gear, shoes, you know, just anything that you need for quick access from behind the front seats. Is you've got 2 extra side compartments for quick access. So we'll add a bunch of pictures in right now. We'll edit this to where you can see the pictures, top, bottom, and the inside, as we then go on to the next step of putting the 2 top panels on with the tie-down rails. Okay, so now we're ready to put in the forward top panel. You can tell this is the forward edge because it's about 2 inches of a down angle is going to roll over the edge of the side walls. And where you can see where the center wall panel is, it has a 90-degree lip on it. This is going to go down right on top of it. So we're just going to grab this. Be careful that you don't scratch anything. Slide it in and down just like that. And then I'm going to climb up and in so it's easier to see. But you're going to take the 2 longer tie-down rails. These are longer than the rear panel, and just set them up there just like that. So when you climb up in, you're going to start lining these holes up and dropping down the bolt. Put a nut and a washer on from underneath just to hold it so we can start moving all the way forward with doing the same thing. Line it up, drop down and bolt. Once you start getting a couple in, it makes it a little bit easier. Roll bar gets in the way of being able to stand up completely, but that's just one of the joys of putting this all together. Keep my body out of the way. There we go. We're going to get all 4 of these down and in. You keep it loose, so you know you might have to move some pieces front and back, just to get them to drop down in nice and easy. My prototype has drilled holes where you'll have CNC holes. Once you get this side done, you're gonna move over to do the other side. So I'm gonna get up here, my hole's off just a little bit. Every time I go to do it, I put my body weight on it and throws it off. There we go. Got it down and on. And then take a washer, nut, reach all the way in. Tighten them hand tight, so that way they're not going to pop out. And then we're going to move over to the other side and do the exact same thing. So, this is where I've got this in here tight right now, but we've got slotted holes so we can move it. I've got to be able to move the top of this wall in just a little bit. So we're going to loosen these up so I can pull this over because we're about half a hole off. So give me a second and we'll pop that real quick. Loosen these two side ones, allowing this top skin to move in a little bit, which allows the top of your wall to move. So all 4 bolts dropped in nicely. So we're gonna, again, like I said, nut and washer on all 4 of them. And I still like to leave everything all the way loose until you get the top panel on. Yes, that means you're gonna have to lay in the back end to tighten it all up, but this way you know that all your bolts will line up easier by doing that. So as soon as I get this last one on, we'll show you a couple other little items. Just so you know that when you go to tighten up the floor bracket here with the 2 factory bolts on each side, you want to be right at 42 inches from inside to inside. So that's how far you're going to push that to the outside. So that way it lines up with the slide floor. That's a future accessory that's coming as soon as we can get it all catted up and prototyped up. So I'm going to grab the last top panel. You can see that it's got a bend on the end. This is what we call the tail skin area. This is what fits into the groove on your tailgate when you're all done. So we're going to set this up into place just like that, and I am going to find the tie downs and come back and then we'll show you that installation. Okay, now that we've got the rear panel with the tail skin section set in place, we're going to take the tie down rails for the rear panel. These are about 2 inches shorter than the front ones, and all we're going to do is we're going to set them in place. Make sure the vertical section is towards the roll bar, because that's how we base everything on how it's going. So get all these holes to line up with bolts. So I'm going to reach in here, put the other 2 in on this side. I'm short 2 bolts, so I'll grab those just a second. But nuts and washers on just like that. Nut and washer on these 2. Nut and washer. Let me go grab 2 more bolts. I'll be right back as you're looking at the inside. So now we're going to grab the tie down on this side. I'm going to line up the hole to drop down in and work our way forward, moving as we need to adjust. I'm putting nut and washer on the bottom of these so that they are snug and don't pop out in case I hit it. It's easy, just put a finger on top. Put the washer and nut on the bottom. Drops right in. Drops like right in. Try and get this to where it's super easy for you to do the installation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten up the 2 rear ones only, just to make sure that we're in the right position for when the tailgate closes. Okay, so now that you got your rear panel on, what I did is I tightened down the two rear just to see how we were going to be. So this tail skin fits right in the middle of your tailgate groove. So as you slowly close your door, watch it down the side, and you'll see that it's not going to hit. So now it's fully closed and it's locked in. You're not going to be able to get inside this. If you've got your hardtop glass on, that glass goes right in here and stays unobstructed. But once you get all of this in and lined up, go back through, tighten all your bolts, so it's pretty much all done and tight. And this is the Bronco Ridgeback. Full-size system, huge space, tons of functionality, and pretty much takes care of every need you're going to have. You're going to have the ability to have soft storage area on the sidewalls for quick access to anything that you need. You'll be able to mount stuff to the forward wall if you want to put stuff on there. The height under here is just incredible. It's actually from the floor up to the bottom of the ridge, you're right at just under 21 inches in height from the plastic lip to the tail skin. And from front to back, you're about 42 inches. And in width, you are 42 inches. So, you know, this is just a great system. All aluminum, bolts together, covers everything, works the way you want it to. And we got some cool stuff coming out to work with it. So, again, this is the Bronco Ridgeback installation. Any questions you have on this stuff, don't hesitate to reach out to us via email or phone call. And we're here to help. So, thanks for watching, and keep watching for what's coming next. So I'm going to take my 7/16 socket, and I'm going to tighten up the two rear bolts. And I'll turn my phone off. If you've got a soft top crossbar, the soft tops I've seen don't have a crossbar. Sorry for my camera operator. Almost dropped his phone.